You learn during those moments, nothing else really matters. Not how good your outfit looks, not who's in the crowd, not who's not watching. Like, say you have like family problems, nobody cares what's going on. You have to perform.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Athlete Country Club. I'm your host, Marcus McMarron. Super excited for our guest today. From the classrooms of Sunnyside, where he graduated valedictorian, to the world stage of professional boxing, Marc Castro embodies discipline, intelligence, and faith at every step. A two-time youth world champion, three-time national champion, and former member of Team USA Boxing. Marc's amateur record, 177 wins and 7 losses, made him one of the most decorated amateurs in U.S. boxing history. Now, as a rising professional who's experienced both victory and defeat under the bright lights, Marc continues to represent Fresno with humility and hunger, proving that greatness isn't about being undefeated, it's about being unbreakable. Today, we dive into the mentality, the sacrifices, and the faith that continues to drive him forward inside and outside of the ring. Marc, welcome to Athlete Country Club, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Beautiful intro. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure,
Yeah.
brother, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, 177 and 7. That's unreal, bro. That's so many fights. Kind of talk about that a little bit. How crazy was that stretch?
It was in for me at first. It was kind of like my dad instilled in me like you're the best, and then for me, it's like I really wouldn't believe in myself, and to that point, I would just be like, oh, I won this tournament. Maybe it was a fluke, or like maybe I got lucky, and then in the sense I didn't get an ego over the wins I had. It was just kind of like the next one, and then it was just I just started remembering like my mom would tell me I don't want to see you lose. If you cry, you better not lose. And so just like after that, like I just would just I trained super hard. My dad trained me. He kept me focused and like kept me out of trouble. And like who doesn't like winning? So I kept winning. We figured out how to win. I would train hard. I wouldn't have no social life, and I was just beating everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, kind of talk about that. I mean, boxing is, I mean, it's one of the most isolating sports. I mean, it's just you and your opponent. I mean, what have you learned about, I mean, yourself in those moments, like right before a fight?
You learn during those moments like nothing else really matters. Like not how good your outfit looks, not who's in the crowd, not who's not watching, like not all the problems. Like say you have like family problems, say you have like any problems in general, but you're just kind of like I gotta perform. Like nobody cares what's going on. You have to perform, and like the main thing that goes in through my mind is like a lot of people uh spent their hard-earned money to come watch me fight, so I have to perform.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I know one thing that's kind of always stuck with me, like watching your journey and fortunate to be friends with Josh Hoka, who's going to have his UFC debut on November 8th. And then obviously being friends with you and your professional journey following along. I feel like I've kind of noticed that like people cheer the loudest like when you announce a fight and then again when like after you win, like that's when
Mhm.
everyone's in your comments, everyone's like hyping
Yeah,
you up. But I feel like everything that actually matters happens like in between those two moments, like the
yeah.
quiet work, the early mornings, the doubt, the sacrifice. I mean, like how do you stay, I mean, just like mentally locked in during that in between space when no one's clapping, no one's posting, it's just you putting in the work?
Well, the main thing is like I like to stay close to God, and more importantly, I have a good a friend group, and then I have a family that keeps me humble. But more importantly, it's like my friend group, and then myself. I've learned so much about myself, and kind of like I learned like those the days of the victories, the days of you announcing the fight, like you have to learn how to protect your energy, and you just basically learn like oh, a lot of people are just they want to be close for me for their own personal reasons. So I kind of have to like create like a boundary for myself and my people because some people don't see what I see, and the main focus should be the boxing, nothing else, because a lot of people try to pull you like, oh, let's come here, like let's do this, just to like toot their own horn. So I basically learned I need to protect myself from because I learned I kind of knew I told my dad and I told my family the easy part of my professional career is gonna be the boxing. Everything else is gonna be hard. Everybody's gonna be in a way feeling entitled to me and my time. So that's what I just basically learned early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, dive into that a little bit more too, because I've always kind of talk to young athletes about that too. It's like, what would be your biggest advice to an athlete that sees Marc Castro having success and he's like, man, I want to be in those shoes, but like, what was like the real sacrifice that kind of came with along with that?
The real sacrifice, I feel like it just I maybe like at the beginning it's kind of like social your social life. Like a lot of people think that, oh, like just because you're famous you have like this huge social life, but you really don't. At being an athlete you kind of have to stay really disciplined, say no to a lot of things, whether like family parties, whether they're just like regular parties or just like regular hangouts or like barbecues and stuff like that. And because like you could make time for them, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be taking away time from yourself. Like, say, you start cutting back on like your recovery time just because you went to this party, whether it's like a family party where it's this. But the main advice I have to young athletes is learn how to put yourself first. Like a lot of athletes like to put themselves first, their parents first, their girlfriend first. But once you put yourself first, you won't regret it, and you're like the best investment like in the long run.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think you've kind of shared, I mean, through your social media, that you've shared posts like about your faith and trusting God's timing. And I mean, like, how much has that faith like carried you through? I mean, just like the highs and the lows of your career.
Honestly, it's like the main thing, like how do you say, like it's my main foundation. Even though like my faith it can like waver, but at the same time, like God knows your heart, and like whether if you like if you're going through a tough time and God knows what you're going through and God knows like you remain faithful. But at the end of the day, like I just basically use my boxing platform for the greater good, and just show people that like you could be a boxer and you could at the end of the day you give God all the glory at the end.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I think it's so important for people with the platform like yourself to kind of be outspoken about their faith and to kind of show that it's cool. I think one of my big realizations too in faith where I feel like I kind of had a breakthrough was, I mean, kind of going to church and I'm going to church with Derek Carr and I kind of in church and I see him lifting his hands and raising his hands in church and I was like, huh, like if Derek Carr is cool enough to raise his hands, like I could
Yeah,
raise my hands too. So it's
yeah.
one of the things like, so like little stuff like that, like I was always really into my faith, but then I kind of was more on the outward kind of like, okay, well, let's express it and let other people know too. So I think that's really cool that you use your platform to just express that and kind of put God on a platform where he belongs. And I mean, just as far as just on the boxing side of things, I mean, most people see fight night,
Hmm.
but what's like the hardest part of the journey that no one talks about?
The hardest part is I guess we live in like in a day and age where like we all work hard, like whether like you live like a regular life or you live like you're an athlete, like we all work hard. Like people don't see the diet, people don't see like people waking up in the morning like not feeling too well, they don't see the family problems. So I feel like the hardest part is as being an athlete is, yeah, like this whole day and age of social media you have to basically become a content creator, and you have to have like your own personality, or people won't tune in to watch you because like you see it with all the college athletes, the NIL deals. If you don't have followers, then you don't really bring nothing to the table. So I feel like that's the hardest part, because for me as a boxer, I can't upload like bag work or running 6 miles every day. Like people are gonna get bored of it. Like, yeah, it might sound good but then after a while, like you have to use media as like a tool. Like you can't waste your posts. You need to like every time you shoot, you can't miss with your posts. So like that's the hardest part in this day and age, because people like to be entertained. People like all the loud, the noisy stuff, and people don't like to see hard work no more. So that's the hard part.
Yeah, no, and then I mean, just on that social media aspect, obviously you've kind of amassed a big following on social media and Instagram. I mean, was there anyone kind of in your corner who kind of helped you with the social media side of things as you started posting more?
Before like anything, it was probably Ryan Garcia. We've been knowing each other since like they're like 11, 12 years old, and he's kind of the one that kind of showed me the ropes. Kind of like you have to find like your bread and butter, and then once you find something that works, like kind of like start trying new things out, and then you come back to what you know what works. And then on top of that, he's just like you just have to look your fastest, your strongest, and at the end of the day, like you have to perform. Like none of it matters if you're not performing.
Yeah, no, 100%. And there's definitely a kind of an aspect of posting what the people want on Instagram versus kind of the real work that's happening behind the scenes. And I mean, that's one thing that I've always admired about you. It's just you're consistent. We kind of talked about it a little bit off camera before, but I mean, like walk us through like what a real training week looks like, the stuff that people don't see on Instagram.
Like probably wake up at 5 a.m. Straight to conditioning from like 6 a.m. to like seven a.m. 1 hour, and then probably get like a morning run maybe like at 10 a.m. Like maybe like an hour, and then you work out like from then at 3 p.m. to 5, and then by 5 p.m. you're probably basically much done. But you eat in between, and you try to get as much rest in between, and then after your day's done around like 5, like you're just drained to do anything, not to do anything. And then that kind of keeps you like focused, where you like you stay out of trouble, and you're just like, all right, let me just, and then you start building momentum. That's the best part, the best feeling. So you just kind
Yeah,
of, that's like a one day out of the week,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
kind of you're, then you just repeat, and then at the end of the day, like you find little things in between, like whether it's playing video games, whether it's reading, and just like you try to find things that you enjoy.
Yeah, no, and that's huge. And I think that's something that a lot of parents and athletes kind of it's hard for them to fully understand. Like I think when they want advice, like if someone's a young boxer and they talk to Marc Castro, they're like, man, he's probably doing all these crazy workouts every day and switching it up and doing this. And then a young quarterback's talking to me and they're like, how do I do this? And it's like, we just give them the base foundation stuff. Like you need to work the basics and you need to do it every
Yeah,
single day for a long period of time and
yeah.
don't get bored. So, I mean, how would you respond to something like that? Like not getting bored with the basics. Like how do you stay locked in through all that?
It gets it gets pretty hard because like
Yeah.
it's okay to admit that it's boring, but then at the same time, you just kind of have to like embrace the boringness, and like it's okay to like, because like it's okay to feel bored when you're training and stuff, but then that's when you have your mental strength. You're working on your mental strength. And the way I control it is like maybe like get a good playlist, or like maybe you kind of need those days when you're not feeling it, and you just kind of like it costs you a little bit more to focus, and or like sometimes like maybe you just kind of like call it a day. Like maybe you need one of those days, like it's an early day, and those that's fine too, because that helps you. You're kind of choosing yourself, and if you know you're not gonna be good in the gym, it's might as well go home because you could get hurt.
I mean, like if I'm a parent listening and my kid tells me, I mean, they want to be a professional athlete. I mean, like what habits should they be encouraging at home?
Well, I'll just share what my dad did, and that's pretty crazy. My dad would take my phone every night at 10 p.m. and he'll, if I wanted it in the morning, I can get it at 5 a.m., but I have to run 6 miles. So like the 6 miles is easy. I can get my phone though, but he also would disconnect the Wi-Fi at 10 p.m. So like it's fine, it's good, but what I would encourage parents is like um parents, they could do whatever they want at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
the main thing is like let their kids enjoy themselves, but like let them create their own, I guess, like have their own swagger, where
Hmm.
like don't build that, so the personality for them. I feel like just kind of embrace your kids swagger.
Yeah. No, that's huge. And that's
Yeah,
crazy, man. But you think about it, it's like now that we're both a little older and you're thinking back to it in the time, you'd be like, man, you're taking my phone at 10. That's crazy. But it's really, as a parent, you're like, nothing good is really happening on your phone after 10 o'clock
yeah,
anyways.
pretty
You
much.
should, you should
Yeah.
probably be asleep, you know? That's when you're getting in trouble, you know? You should probably get off your phone, you know?
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome, dude, that you used to do that. And that's crazy. And just your work ethic and him traveling with you and all those times. And I mean, it's just kind of crazy to even think about. I remember back when, I mean, I was at Fresno State and you were
Mm.
balancing school and boxing, and that's kind of when you were deciding, like, hey, should I pursue boxing full time and turn pro. And I mean, just for like the people who might not know your story, I mean, like
Mhm.
who's Marc Castro before the bright lights and the gloves?
Yeah, I'm Marc Castro. I graduated valedictorian in 2017. I was trying to go to the Olympics in 2020, but I decided to turn pro. Then COVID hit. And even at the same time, I was still juggling. I was a full time college student and full time boxer. But then 2019 came, and that's when I kind of like I told my parents I had met Canelo through Ryan Garcia and stuff like that. I'm like, no, like mom, like dad, like I want to do this full time. Like you guys ain't in the classroom doing the homework. You ain't doing all this work. I want to try boxing full time, and they were really upset at the time, but it turned out to work out good. Uh,
Yeah, no, it definitely worked
yeah,
out good. Yeah, you start rolling in some wins and stuff and started making a name for yourself for sure. And you definitely, I mean, I
yeah.
think I could see where their frustration comes from because I mean, you come from a proud family, and I know they're extremely supportive and have always been in your corner. And I mean, Fresno also has a reputation for just kind of producing, I mean, just hardworking agriculture, kind of grit grinders. And I mean, how do you like your upbringing, how did that shape your mentality just inside and outside the ring?
My upbringing kind of like shaped me in the sense of like nothing is like handed to us, nothing was given to us, and kind of like not to expect anything for anybody. And like I'm not looking at the next guy jealous of what he has. I'm just looking at like how can I get it? Like asking him how can I get there? And that's what my upbringing kind of taught me. My parents taught me like in a way like don't like be envious of anybody, and then don't like idolize anybody because they got there through hard work and sacrifices.
Yeah. And I think that's almost kind of relates to like you're talking about asking Ryan Garcia for social media advice. I mean, some
Mhm.
people have too much of an ego to even ask, or maybe some people are like, oh, there's Canelo. I've been a fan of Canelo for a long time. I'm not going to go ask for a picture.
Mhm.
So I think it kind of just shows the humility that you were kind of raised with that it's like, hey, if someone has something that I want, why don't I just ask them for help? You know, and I think that's something that's really important and a lot of
Yeah.
people don't do for some reason.
Yeah, they kind of like I guess like shell up to get starstruck, but for me it was kind of like it seemed like kind of like I could grasp it, like it just seemed super close to get, and I was like I could get here too. Like it doesn't seem that hard. Like watching Canelo train, like he just works hard, have fun, and I'm like I could be there too. Or like Ryan Garcia, it's kind of like I see him and he's just like he grew up like really like a hard upbringing, and then just kind of like he blew up thanks to social media. So I'm just like how, and they just kind of show me the ropes, and from there you just kind of like okay, like I could do this too.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, I mean, just kind of on that note, I mean, just kind of, you're obviously changed your entire kind of family trajectory, obviously kind of making it to the point you've made to and still have goals and aspirations that you're continuing to push towards. But I mean, what were some of those like early sacrifices your family made that you look back on now and realize that they were pivotal, kind of really important for them to make those sacrifices for you?
I feel like my parents sacrificed their own dreams, like whether it's like vacations or like whether it's like in the sense of like, all right, like we're gonna go all in on you. Like we're gonna take you to this tournament, that tournament. They could have took any tournament off, which is like three or four tournaments a year, and like kind of like, oh, we're gonna go on vacation with this money, but they didn't. They're just kind of like, no, like let's keep going, let's keep the ballers rolling, and even to the point where it's kind of like they believed in me more than I guess I believed in myself at the beginning.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I think you kind of mentioned too, like at one point you felt close to Ryan Garcia and to Canelo, and you felt like you could almost grasp kind of that boxing dream. I mean, at what point did you realize this wasn't just a dream anymore and that boxing could become your life?
That was it was probably after meeting Canelo and kind of just being there with Ryan and training. Well, I've been knowing him for a while, but then kind of like seeing his growth from like because we're on the Team USA together, and then that was probably like 2 years earlier. Like fast forward like 3 years, and he was like huge in the boxing world, and I was just kind of like. I became obsessed with it. I'm like, how? Like, how can I get there? How can I get there? And I was like running like 10 miles a day, like recording, doing this, doing that. Like, my parents were looking at me like I was crazy. But I'm like, no, like, I know what I want. Like, I know what I could do.
Yeah.
And it was, into a sense, like, I was just kind of like driving myself crazy and putting in the work, which I felt like that kind of just saved me like from a lot of trouble.
Yeah, no, and I think that's always interesting. I think from like the outside looking in, people are always like, "Oh, like it's cool, you're passionate about this, like you're working hard and you're doing good." And then once you kind of hit another level, and they're like, "Oh, you're obsessed, like you got to stop, like you got to slow
Mhm.
down," you know. And
Yeah.
I think that's where athletes kind of go from good to great. You know, it's like when you have a certain level of obsession with it, like, hey. I think about it when I go to sleep. I think about it when I wake up. I'm thinking about it all day during the day. And I feel like it almost has to be on your mind that often and frequently in order to kind of reach the level of success that you're kind of trending towards.
Yeah, and that's true. Like a lot of people kind of like once you get to that obsession, they kind of like are like slow down, like, or like then that's when you see like who your real supporters are. Where there it's like friends kind of like, oh, come to this party, or like family members kind of like oh you take it too serious. But then that's when you see your real supporters like, hey, like let's do this, let's do that, like or nah, like I'm not even gonna invite you to this party because I know you're locked in. So
Yeah.
just things like that, and that's true. Like once you become obsessed with it, it takes you to another level.
Yeah.
And I basically learned where like I don't tell people the obsession I have anymore because it's kind of like I feel like I'm just wasting my energy just talking
Yeah.
because I'm like they don't see what I see. They don't see the dream. They don't see the
Yeah.
vision.
Yeah. No, and how important is that kind of obviously I've talked with different guys from MLB to NFL, professional boxers, track athletes, Olympians, kind of everything in between, and how important. As much as we all put in the work and we did it ourselves, and no one woke up at 5 a.m. and worked out. No one ran the miles. That was completely 100% our own efforts that we kind of put in to achieve the success we did. But in the same time, it takes a village. Like, how important was it to have those 4 or 5 friends around you that really kept your head on straight and kind of help you achieve your success as well?
It's super important because like just to like sometimes you just need to like get your mind off like training or say like you have like family problems or like say you have like your own problems and you just kind of have to like ask them for advice and they kind of give you like it's kind of biased sometimes but then sometimes unbiased information but more importantly it's better to like get your mind off things and those 4 or 5 friends if they're good they'll keep you out of trouble they if they're those 4 or 5 friends more than likely will have like the same personality as you whether it's like say like those friends like to how do you say it like they like to like stay indoors like they'll basically make sure like you're staying indoors or like say those friends like to go like on hikes and stuff you go on hikes or like say they're just low key like for me my friends are super low key so like that's what I love the most because like all right like we can hang out and like nobody has to know so
Hmm.
that's what I admire about my friends the most.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I think just it's so important to kind of be just locked in and tapped in with people because I think even especially in my journey, kind of when I was playing in high school, I mean, I could have easily been surrounded with the wrong people and they could have been, like you said, hey, let's go to this party or hey, let's go do that. And if I'm saying no every single day, eventually you're going to say, you know what? I'll go with you. You know,
Yeah.
eventually you're just going to break and be like, okay, we'll go, you know, but if you have friends that know, hey, these are my goals, my dreams, and my aspirations, this is kind of the direction I'm heading. Like you said, it puts you in a better spot as a friend. It's like, hey, if you're really my friend, you know, you don't ask me to go drink, don't ask me to go smoke because I'm not really trying to get into that life. Like I kind of have
Yeah.
my own goals and stuff that I have to do right now. And I think my question on top of that would be just like obviously your dad's played a huge role in kind of your boxing career and your mom and who are some of the friends that you've kind of had in your circle that have maybe been there since your 177 and 7 kind of days that have kind of grown up with you through the sport.
My friends are probably like I could name them. They're like John, Omar, Lee, Sadiq, Pato. Like they all know who they are. So
Yeah.
like basically like. our main thing is like the way I describe it is like we like to work hard, we go hard for our people, and we just like to like stay in our own lane. Like I think like a couple of my friends they don't even like have social media.
Right.
They're not big on social media. So like I always look at myself that way. Like if it wasn't for boxing, I wouldn't even have social media.
Yeah.
But it's not that's not the case. So that's
Yeah.
why I use boxing as the platform.
Hmm. No, that
Because
makes total sense. And I feel like boxing, it's important to keep, I mean, the right people around you. I mean, obviously to be able to kind of take a break, but it's almost like a mental health break too. Because, like you said, it's so much of a hyper obsession with your sport and trying to be the best and the technicalities of it and working and kind of 1% better every day. And it's like grind, 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 grind. It's good to kind of have that mental health and just kind of to be able to step away from things and take a deep breath and hang out with a girlfriend or hang out with your friends and kind of just breathe for a second. And I mean, I know you've said like on social media posts and different things that I mean, boxing's like 90% mental. I mean, can you kind of break that down for young athletes listening? I mean, what does mental toughness actually look like in the boxing ring and in training?
yeah, like the 90% mental for the boxing is kind of like where you're not lying to yourself, where you're like you go into the ring and you know you put your all out effort into your training, your recovery, and you're like I guess you're eating, you're dieting because at the end of the day, like under those bright lights, when you're on the field or in the ring, like you're gonna realize like all the shortcuts are gonna show in the ring, or like all the extra work is gonna show and you can't really lie as much as you probably the lies will catch up to you, the extra work will show. So the main thing you basically see is the work you've been putting in. Like it's kind of like a test, like kind of like when you have like a test from God or like things like that. Like no one can help you on the test with God. Like God knows.
Yeah, no, and I feel like I always used to compare. I had a lot of conversation with Josh Hoke. I'm always talking to him on the phone, and he would always talk about how fighting's just it's the ultimate gladiator sport. He's like, man, like football was tough, and all these sports were tough. He's like, but man, fighting, it's you and one other person. He's like, there's no hiding
Mhm.
from that. Like anything that you took shortcuts or you didn't work on this or you didn't do that, like you're gonna get exposed in that moment.
Mhm.
And I would the closest thing I got to that is not even competitive wise, but it's like shooting a free throw. I always tell parents it's like you're shooting a free throw games online. Like your mom could yell all she wants in the crowd and your dad can yell, but it's just you. You're the only one that's
Yeah.
out there. Like you have to shoot the free throw at the end of the day. And just kind of being in kind of that gladiator sport and just kind of what would you kind of say you're just I mean, perspective has been just kind of looking back, like taking a step away, like what would be your advice to kids that are entering boxing and kind of youth versions of it right now? They're working their way up and trying to get to that 177 and 7 record or try to go 180 and 0 or something like that.
The main thing I would tell myself, like during those times, I would tell myself, like, work when no one's watching and make them watch you. Whether that means, like, if you want to, whatever works for you. Like, for me, like, as a young athlete, like in high school, my parents would let me, like, drive the car. But only to go run. And like I had no license or anything, so I'll be like, okay, like I'll drive it like at midnight, just so I could feel like I'm not being left out like from all the high school parties and stuff like that. So I'll go run at midnight and stuff like that, and I'll just post it. So I'll just do things like that just to like make myself feel like quote unquote cool or like I feel like I'm not missing out on anything. And then people start to see that they start respecting the grind. So just work
Yeah.
when no one's watching and make them watching, like whatever
Yeah.
that is for you.
No, that's huge. And kind of, I mean, just like if you could go back and talk to, I mean, 14-year-old Mark, I mean, the kid
Mhm.
shadow boxing in the gym,
Yeah.
kind of dreaming of this life. I mean, what would you tell him?
I would just tell him. I wouldn't even tell him anything because like you have to experience it for yourself. Like I feel like if I were to like kind of like try to give him advice, like he wouldn't listen because like that's how locked in he was or like so focused he was. Like I believed in my dad and like everything he told me. So like I feel like he kind of engraved that in me. Where like he kind of like showed me. uh, uh, don't trust no one, just trust yourself, and like that kind of like that's like it's just engraved in me. So I wouldn't tell my 14-year-old self anything because like it could mess up anything.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
huge. And I was just having this conversation with someone, and it's like you're in second grade and they're teaching you addition and subtraction, and you're like, oh, this is hard, and then you learn it, and then you get to the next grade and they teach you how to multiply. And you're just like, well, why did you teach me how to add when I could have just learned how to multiply the whole time? So and I think that's kind of where you're leaning towards. It's like I can't teach you a shortcut before you've kind of created the foundation and experienced it yourself and went through all those fights and fought almost 200 amateur fights before you became a professional. So I think just laying the foundation is so important for young athletes nowadays, and not to get away from those basics of things and not trying to rush the process.
Yeah, and like you said, like you can't miss a step like on the way up, and if you do, like it'll show. But that's the main thing. Like I just I'm once looking back on it, like you're just grateful for all those little things, like whether it's like those easy wins or like those hard wins or those hard losses. Like you're just thankful for it all because you're like it all molded me at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, for sure. And a couple more questions, bro, and we'll wrap up. But I mean,
Okay.
just like when it's all said and done, I mean, what do you want? I mean, your name to stand for, not just as a boxer, but as, I mean, a representation of the Central Valley.
The main thing is just I want to like show people that I kind of like I always went hard for like my people, and I kind of put my people first, and I kind of like I took the sport serious where like I knew they were spending their hard earned money. I gave like the city hope, and I showed them there's talent there, and then just kind of like the main thing I put like I give the glory to God, but at the same time like I kind of show them like I guess like Fresno and like the Central Valley is always overlooked,
Mhm.
and to kind of show them that there's talent here too.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you've always carried yourself with, I mean, like humility and gratitude. And I mean, for young athletes listening, I mean, how important is it to have character in sustaining success?
The main thing about the character is like the number one thing because like when the cameras come off and like the people get to know you, like your character will open doors for you and like go before you before it'll get you those business deals, it'll get you those networkings. Because if like someone sees something that they don't like about you, whether it's like you treating the waitress wrong or whether you using foul language or just like just talking about your parents wrong, like it shows a lot, and the people are gonna not want you around just for that simple reason.
Yeah, no. And I don't know if a lot of people know my mom's Hispanic too. I know you grew up the
Mhm.
same way. It's like, hey, bro, your Thea walks in, you better stand up and let her sit down. So it's little stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we kind of grew up the same way. And I think it's just having that integrity. And I think that's kind of a missing aspect in a lot of the youth athletes is just like, man, like it plays such a big factor, and you make such a lasting impact on people when you are respectful. And it's super simple. It's like someone's talking to you in the older, you say yes sir, say no sir, open the door for people, say thank you, say please. And
Yeah.
so I think that's like such a missing thing. And I know boxing's a little bit more of a kind of solo sport, but in football, I mean, you go on visits and you talk to schools, and I think that's how you make a lasting impression. And I think it's kind of the same in boxing when you have promoters and different things like that, and people you want to impress, to where they're giving you different fighting title opportunities and belt opportunities. You got to leave an impression on people that say, hey, this guy just likes to party. He doesn't really deserve a shot. He's just kind of in it and in it. But then there's the opposite side of it. Like there's the Marc Castros where like this guy's dialed and locked in. He lives, breathes, and sleep boxing. He deserves a title shot and different things like that. So I think it's awesome what you're doing, man. And I mean, kind of last question or two more questions, but I mean, one, I mean, what's next for Marc Castro? Kind of both like inside the ring and outside the ring.
I should be fighting before the year ends. I probably should announce it soon. My Instagram, and the main thing is like I just want to keep fighting. I want a world title shot in probably the next 5 fights. I'm probably ranked I think like 40 in the world right now.
Yeah,
and
kind
like
of talk
just
to that, bro. Just what's your ultimate vision and goal with boxing?
the main thing is like, yeah, I know I could like win a world title and stuff like that, but the main thing is probably like be the role model I needed growing up. Cause like being around Fresno, like they're really like nothing. Like there's nothing to look up to. Like yeah, you kind of see those like those LeBrons and stuff on TV. And like for me, it was like Kobe, but like all those athletes seem so out of reach.
Mhm.
Like they seem like oh, we'll never get there. But then just kind of giving the kids like hope in the Central Valley and Fresno that it's kind of like no, like he was one of us. Like we could do it too.
Yeah, no, that's huge, man. And I think just kind of the last question I want to ask, kind of on that topic, is obviously you're inspiring. I mean, the cool thing about this whole process and how you're living, and I'm a couple years older than you, so I've kind of experienced it, but you're all the work that you're putting in, it's appreciated in more levels that you know. I mean, like your name's being brought up in rooms and stuff that you have no idea, and you're planting seeds and inspiring those people just through your work ethic. And I think it's coming with that work that we talked about, like from announcing your fight to winning the fight or participating in the fight, whatever it is, we're going to win the fight. But it's all that quiet time in between where I think you kind of sharing that insight to people that's really kind of made a huge difference. And I mean, the last thing I want to kind of ask is, I mean, if this whole podcast kind of just got erased and for whatever reason I forgot to hit record or the
Yeah,
quality was messed up or whatever the case, if this all got deleted theoretically,
yeah.
I mean, what's like one or two pieces of advice you would give to a 13, 14-year old that's pursuing professional sports?
You know how people always say like you always hear young athletes are like, oh, pressure, operate at pressure. You know, pressure makes diamonds and stuff like that, or like all that stuff. But like operate. Don't try to operate off pressure. Try to operate off peace. Like once you have peace, then you could like you can conquer the world. Yeah. So like
That's
operate
good,
at
bro.
peace, not pressure.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never heard that
Yeah.
before. Operate
Yeah.
off peace, not pressure. No, and I
Yeah.
think it's turned into almost a slogan, pressure makes diamonds, pressure does this, pressure
Yeah.
does that. But I think I just had a conversation too with a sports psychologist, and he was saying not to look at something as pressure, but look at it as an opportunity or a challenge. A lot of people look at pressure as a threat versus looking at
Yeah.
it as an opportunity, like, hey, I'm fortunate to kind of be in this situation. So I think that's awesome that you kind of share that perspective. And yeah, brother. I
Yeah.
mean, I just want to kind of wrap up and finish and say, man, I'm proud of you, bro. I mean, from
Thank
Fresno,
you
I
so
mean, to the
much.
pros. I mean, your journey's everything. I mean, that athlete country club's about, man. I mean, just your grit, your faith. I mean, being all about your family, and I mean, everyone listening to this. I mean, go follow Mark on Instagram at Mark the Boxer. It's not just fight highlights; it's lessons and discipline and dedication. And Mark, I appreciate you inspiring the
Yeah.
next generation, brother.
Thank you.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
no doubt. All right, guys. Till next time. Appreciate you guys checking out Athlete Country Club. Peace.